Like, I stand by it. If Biscuits can learn sign language, anybody should be able to pick up some amount of sign language, it
Dude,
sounds like.
Biscuits. So, as far as sidekick characters introduced,
Man, I want a Marvel special presentation Sidekicks Christmas special so fucking bad now.
it's just it's the white boy from Miss Marvel. It's Ned from the Spider-Man movies. It's Darcy from the Thor movies, and Biscuits.
Yeah, have Jimmy Woo put them all together.
Oh, fucking A, yeah. They think Jimmy has powers, but it's just close-up magic.
Yes, he can teleport cards. What?
Holy
Never
shit.
mind. Have him show you next time you see him. Episode 470 of the TV Dudes, recorded January 18th, 2024. Echo. This week we're talking Echo over on Disney Plus. 2024 is going to be lean on Marvel content, so it's good that we got some bloody violent superheroing to start off the year.
Yeah.
But before we get to all that, I'm Les.
And I'm Nick.
And we're the TV Dudes. Echo is the 10th television series in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's going to share continuity with the films. It's a spinoff of the series Hawkeye, starring Maya Lopez.
It's also the first outing of Disney's Starlight. Is that what it's called? Starlight, their production?
Spotlight. Marvel Spotlight.
Okay.
Yeah, which I guess is their Marvel special presentation, but for their more Netflixy, for lack of a better adjective there, series.
Right.
And yeah, which just means bloodier and violent. Yeah.
Back in the aughts, it was later, like, no, the 2010s or whatever, it was called Marvel Knights. Do you remember that?
Absolutely.
With
Absolutely.
Ghost Rider and Punisher were Marvel Knights. Like, that was what they were underneath.
Like KNIGHT Knights.
So for me to see that under Echo, I was like, it goes like a blast of the past. So I was like, oh shit, we're banking on this to save the Marvel universe, are we?
I think earlier I said this starred Maya Lopez. It doesn't. It stars Alaqua Cox as Maya Lopez.
Alaqua Cox as Maya Lopez, right? But the characters themselves are stars in their own. Like,
I mean, isn't that always the recent stab at Marvel there? Echo is the first Marvel Studios television release to have a TVMA rating. It is considered part of Phase 5, but that TVMA rating, I feel like that's going to be used as ammo by the folks that are saying Marvel is on a downhill slide or Marvel screwing up or whatever. Look, we got super edgy. Look.
Mm-hmm. I wonder.
I don't know that that's what they're doing. That's not the vibe I got from having watched it, but we'll discuss.
Into it, but like, no, it doesn't go far enough.
Right.
As far as edgy superhero content.
Well, we'll discuss what we liked and didn't like about it here in a few, but before we get to all that, let's talk about our TV diaries.
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
Nick, what did we watch?
Oh my god, we watched fucking Skeleton Warriors, or at least I did.
Yeah, we did.
I watched some more episodes. I don't think I'm as far.
I need
you
to
actually
finish it
finished it.
I haven't fully finished it. I'm on like up 10.
Yeah, I'm only up to. They've found a way to unskeletonize people, and it hasn't made anyone scream in pain for me yet. Some people want to get back into it, like, no, I like being immortal and a skeleton and evil.
Yeah,
I think
the dude that I saw scream is the one that just like immediately like no and like ran to get re-skeletonized immediately. Which it's funny, like re-skeletonized was a theme in Skeleton Warriors. We'll discuss on the Patreon this week. We'll discuss Dracula Sovereign of the Damned, where he has to re-Dracula himself.
Yep. But I gotta say, Skeleton Warriors turns out to be a pretty great animated series from the 90s.
It's so good.
It's actually really good. It has a through line continuity that like has progression in the story. They're slowly getting more weapons against the Skeleton Warriors and more effective stuff.
And they're having to figure it all out without their like big power source that they normally use, out in the woods, like rigging all this stuff.
No, it's a pretty decent through line. Yeah, narrative. I mean, I said I was going to finish out Vampires, but I think we stalled on that because it is. I mean, it's fun, but I feel like you couldn't power through a whole season of Vampires in one
Not
sitting.
at once. You'd melt your brain.
But Skeleton Warriors is easy to keep on, like in the background and going forward. I shockingly enjoying it. Also, I learned stuff this week.
Yes, I woke up one day and you were like far into some extra history, or extra credit, and then also another docuseries,
Right.
Age of Samurai.
Yes, Netflix has a couple docuseries that are The Lost Pirate Kingdom, which I was first getting into, which also led me to the Age of Samurai, which is focusing on 100 years of war in, I forget the actual dates, but the Sengoku Jidai, so the Sengoku period, and about these constantly warring clans, and the head kind of big bad, or however you want to look at him, Nobunaga, which I found vastly interesting and reminded me that Extra Credits did a Sengoku period series, and honestly, it made me realize, like, oh yeah, docuseries are more interesting than documentaries because they have at least a little bit of like a reenactment thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then Extra Credits is my preferred method of like really like bare bones and somehow succinctly getting more information to me.
Yeah. No, the Extra Credits is an amazing. That's the correct name of that channel, right? Is it?
Yeah. Yep. Extra History is the offshoot of it, but it started off as Extra Credits. And,
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, they are fantastic. Like, the super simple animation helps with the bluntness of the jokes. Like, when they throw in humor, it's the same way that John Oliver manages to like both educate and still get some like screwball absurd like fun in there every once in a while. I'm always impressed by how much information they convey. It's got to be hard to do those.
Yeah, but it's a fascinating period of Japan where they go like 100 years without a really any centralized government. It's just factions and warring samurai clans.
Yeah, we were discussing, like, it really helps it make sense how the system that came after and lasted for so long, like how you could get people to just hand over their swords and agree to this crazy caste system.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because there'd been whole generations, like, no memory of anything different, of just feuding war and constantly fluctuating samurai borders.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Not quite as interesting. I actually preferred the Lost Pirate Kingdom docuseries. I thought that was very fascinating as far as how pirates actually came to be.
It's that they just killed a dude in the square and he yelled out, "Find the One Piece," right?
Shockingly enough, actual piracy was even more so a blunder on British hierarchy. Like everything in the 1800s, like if it was bad, it was Britain's fault. But the war they had going on with Spain at the time, for like, they had a war going on for like 10, 20 years or something, right? Like it was a decades long war, and the shipping channels had like they didn't have enough money for a navy, so they just hired out privateers, and they went and raided Spanish ships. But then after 20 years, there's a peacetime, right? And now you have all these privateers that have spent a decade learning a skill that is stealing shit from ships, and now they have a skill set, and you tell them you can't.
You put us through a job training course, you can't.
Some guy on it said that, like, so the math is pretty easy. Privateers minus commissions equals pirates. Like, They're
Right.
gonna go steal shit from ships. It's basically you paying them to not do it to you. And it goes through Edward Thatch, Blackbeard, Black Ryan, or what was it, Black Sam? A lot of black in the name just because of black hair. Apparently, like I'm like, I don't know. Most people have did not a lot of people have black hair at the time? I don't know. Also, Blackbeard's sidekick was a big African guy named Black Shakespeare, which I think is fucking awesome and deserves its own fucking movie or docuseries.
Well, now I just want to see a teen pirate movie where they make a bet that they can turn a pirate into a government official just by taking the pirate's glasses off and turning them from brunette to blonde.
Going back through the history of it, not like there was a couple pirates that were dicks, but a lot of pirates didn't kill a lot of people because they had a code, and they consider themselves Robin Hoods. Like they didn't want to fuck with the guys that were running the ships. Those are mid-level guys. Those are mid-level management. They wanted to stick it to rich assholes.
No, I mean, that makes sense. That's kind of how the mob seemed to have entrenched originally. Like, you know, you're helping out the people on your street, and you're trying to screw over, you know, somebody slightly bigger or faceless. Or
also there's British dude that's like a hunter of pirates that's basically a pirate himself, because he's part of the British Empire, so it's against a treaty. He could start a war if he attacks Spanish ships, but if a Spanish fleet went down and pirates are going and salvaging the ships, which there was a whole Spanish treasure fleet. Like they had the treasure, like it's basically the One Piece. Like a One Piece was being transported, and a hurricane took it down near Havana or something, and pirates went to go salvage. They basically went through a whole legal loophole. He went to his lords like, so say I run down and hunt down pirates that are going to salvage there. If I just take what they have there, technically I didn't steal from the Spanish. I stole from the dudes that stole from the Spanish.
That has some Den of Thieves vibes, man. Like, so I just gotta wait for these pirates. Like, no, guys, hang back. We gotta let the crime finish. Yeah, and then we can rob those fucks.
And then it's all legal and clear. And then eventually he just stops caring about that altogether, and well, fuck the Spanish anyway.
There's also kind of an Omar from The Wire, kind of like, I'm the pirate that robs pirates, motherfuckers.
Yeah, also the death knell for pirates was basically to pardon them. Like what split them all up was that a lot of pirates were pirates because they had no other option. And then when they suddenly had an option of like you're introducing back into society, and they could keep all the shit that they had, like it was a full ass pardon.
Like, just stop fucking doing it.
And it was a brilliant move on the pirate hunter that they hired's part to split up, because he split the pirate contingent in half. They were now infighting over who wanted to take the pardon and who didn't. And before, they were a united force, and they really couldn't dig them out. Like they were dug in cube like a fucking tick. And with one, piece of paper, he managed to do what his predecessors hadn't been able to do in decades.
I bet that was a hard sell, though.
Oh, they show it in they say in the docuseries that it was a particularly hard sell with the gentry or the higher ups in British government,
right?
Because they didn't want to give they wanted pirates dead. They wanted to just fuck these pirates.
We see it in public policy all the time, like people putting their actual goal aside of like, we want this stopped, because you can't let go of but punishment though.
Hey, do you want piracy to be done? Because I can get that done with this piece of paper, and I'm not going to if you ask me to kill every fucking pirate.
But yeah, you keep sight of your goal, man. I could do that.
Yeah.
So that's the Lost Pirate Kingdom. Is that on? Where is that? Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix. These are both on Netflix. These docuseries. Yeah. Right. They had a very educational week. And yeah, that's my TV Diaries.
We had discussed Monarch last week, so that doesn't really count. Of course, watched Skeleton Warriors. Kept up on a bunch of Bob's Burgers. There's still I don't know, feels like a Zeno's Paradox thing. There's half of Bob's Burgers always still left. Watched a bunch of Good Place, or at least 3 or 4 episodes of Good Place. Feel like we watched some After Party somewhere.
I finished out After Party. Yeah, season 2.
Lisa also started watching. Or no, I don't know. Somewhere in the blur of a week, I caught some After Party. Fanny and I watched The Holdovers, which is a Paul Giamatti movie.
That's right.
Over on Peacock. Alexander Payne. Man, it's just a 2-hour snowed in, get it a blanket kind of groove of a movie. Feels very 70s. Got a very Charlie Brown Christmas Special vibe to it. I really enjoyed it. It's Paul Giamatti's just an asshole professor who has to watch over the 4 or 5 rich kids that are not going home for Christmas break because their rich ass parents are on a cruise or whatever and just don't want to come pick them up. And he's a complete dickbag who slowly warms to one kid. Nothing really happens. You just kind of find out more about why each of these characters is who they are. It was cool. I could see myself watching this around the holidays.
Yeah.
It's definitely set over Christmas, but it's not about Christmas. It's kind of more about, I don't know, family and relationships and good soundtrack and great performances. Giamatti, I don't know how they did this. Giamatti's character has a lazy eye, and it is present in every scene. And I don't know how they did it. I don't know if it's like an application. There's software now that will help you read a teleprompter, but correct your eyes back to camera for
right.
YouTube interview kind of stuff. And
I wonder,
I don't know. They have not said how they did this. Like, if Paul Giamatti can just do that, that's insane. He does not really have a lazy eye, so it's not like they've always corrected it in every movie and he just, took his jibs out in this one. But I don't know how they did it. It's wild. Holdovers was very good. I really dug it. It's a little bit long, but it's really the movie's just kind of a slow groove. I don't know what I'd cut. Watched one episode of Letterkenny, the greatest episode of Letterkenny, the golf course Canada Gooses episode, which is just always fantastic.
I never been so irate in my entire fucking life.
Yes, Sally. Yeah, ants. I mean, they maybe could drive Sea-Doos.
Like, what if they could, though?
Yeah. I watched Fool Me Once, episode 1, which is a very British, Harlan Corbin's Fool Me Once. I gather by the number of shows with the guy's name on it that I'm supposed to know who Harlan Corbin is. So I looked him up. Apparently he's a mystery writer. There's a ton of stuff happening in this show, and I still don't care. I did not plug in. It's not to say it's badly done. If you like a British mystery, you might dig this more than me, but it's usually our complaint is like, my God, you think that's enough plot? That's not the problem here. There's some shit happening. Like, a woman's husband dies, and then she's got a new baby. She gets a nanny cam that he wouldn't have known about before he died, and she catches him on it.
Oh, shit.
And then the nanny destroys it, and they gaslight her about it. And and so, like, it just unravels from there. I mean, it's a cool story. I did not plug in. Might have been the day I was having, but watched all of Fargo season 2. So clearly my day wasn't that bad. Over the last week, I had not watched any other Fargo before season 5, and watched all of Fargo season 2, which has Jeffrey Donovan and Angus Sampson and Kirsten Dunst and Landry from Jesse Plemons. There's a ton of actors in this. That's not even scratching the surface of it. Bokeem Woodbine steals that season as Mike Milligan.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Man, he is great in that. I dug it. So yeah, Fargo season 2 was great. I realized you still got to pick and choose your seasons there. I have tried to watch the Chris Rock season before, and it did not plug in. But I'm definitely going to give some more Fargo a shot. Watched Roleplay, which has Bass Reeves from Bass Reeves, David Oluwayo, I think is his name. I know I'm mispronouncing that. And another mispronounced Kaylee Cuoco from Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Man, she loves playing people who shouldn't be action star killers who are. I don't know what the deal is. I've seen her do it like 3 times now, I think. So she's in a movie called Role Play with him, where she is a trained assassin, Red Room, Black Widow style, and has run away from the life, and he's her husband. They have a kid together. He knows nothing about any of this. And she is still a working assassin in order to make enough money to pay for hiding from her previous employer, which is a pretty fun setup. Almost at the opening of the movie, basically, she and her husband go on a date because she misses their anniversary. And they're going to do like a role play at the bar kind of thing. Hence, that's the title of the movie. And she gets made at the bar by Bill Nighy.
The thing.
And has to take care of that, like on their date. And you kind of think that's going to be the movie. That actually just starts a whole other bag of shit. It's got a weird tone. It's kind of dark. Like when we were watching another movie with her, when we were watching Meet Cute, and it was like, man, the tone of this is a little fucking harsh.
Yeah,
man.
I remember Meet Cute.
And that's the way this is here, but I really dug it. Like, Role Play was really fun. Not a great movie, but I enjoyed my time with it. And then one that we forgot to talk about last week, Merry Little Batman.
Right.
Which I thought was just like a Christmas episode special kind of thing over on Amazon. I thought it was going to be like 30, 40 minutes. It is a full movie. It's an hour and a half. I don't know that it needs to be an hour and a half. But the animation's a blast. I really enjoyed this. It is cute as shit. It is following around Damian on Christmas.
I remember
when they've lured Batman out.
You thought it was like 15 minutes or something.
Man, I thought it was going to be 30 minutes. And when we got to 45, I was like,
when we got to like a whole separate second level of villains, like.
Yes. Yeah,
because the opening is its own short little movie of Damian Wayne versus the robbers from Home Alone.
Yeah, and that's really what I thought it was. And then the story keeps going, and I was like, well, wait, what are we doing here? So go into it knowing that it is a movie. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really the only thing that was wrong with it was my expectation was set completely wrong. Because I really dug the animation. I can't believe I didn't hear more about this. But that actually fits for DC and Warner Brothers just not knowing.
Well, they had to sell it to Prime or whatever. Like, I don't think it even came out on Max.
No. I think it's just on Prime. So yeah, who knows? Like, it's par for the course for them to just not. Even on Max, I log in and they drop DC movies and don't say anything to me. I'm like, guys, I've watched all of these. You would think it would be the lead when I log into the app, but no.
I just think that even the algorithm is surprised. You still watching anything on our thing?
Does anybody still? And we've sold everything off.
We can't in good conscience recommend any of this.
Like, Max is just a series of links to other apps where they've sold off content.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a clearinghouse for shortcuts. Well, I think that about wraps up our TV. Oh, shit. Fargo season 5 wrapped up.
Oh, shit, indeed. Oh, crap.
So did you catch all the way up and get to finish it?
You bet your ass.
Awesome. So this being my first season of Fargo to really watch, I know I watched 2 in the middle of it while waiting. This was a great intro into Fargo, man. This was awesome. Minnesota nice indeed.
Sure. I'm surprised it actually took them so long to get to the concept of Minnesota nice.
Especially when they're working it from the start. I mean, if you're aware of that term, you can see it in previous seasons. Everybody's just such a nice way of cutting you down.
Yeah, because I think even Bokeem Woodbine says something in his season that is like, I like you guys. Like, we're friendly people. And he's like, no, you're not.
Actually, you're not.
You're not. But it's the way you're not friendly. You're so polite about it. Like,
yeah. No, he nailed it. They did everything short of throw up the words Minnesota nice.
Yeah. And so I got to experience like the later half of Fargo all at once. I was surprised to see that the full spoilers going in for Fargo, guys. We're going to be talking about like the tail end of these episodes. But the final episodes, like, I thought it was going to be just when we get to the compound with Roy and the standoff with like the FBI and National Guard, I was like, oh, this must be the finale. But it's actually the last 3 episodes take place on Roy's.
Yeah. Yeah, no, when I realized we still had a couple to go, but we were already at the ranch.
Mm-hmm.
And then even in the penultimate, they set everybody on their way there, but the thing actually goes down before most of them get there.
Yeah. Well, what sucks is that Dot is there from the jump and is what
Yeah.
starts it off. And man, Danish Graves is a character that I really like.
I should have known what was going to happen when he had that win, that just unequivocal win against Roy.
Well, it's one of those tropes that I feel like I think Game of Thrones came close to doing with Cersei, is that Cersei is not the smartest character, or even the longest term thinking, but she will hurt herself in order to hurt you. And Roy is very much a Cersei. He doesn't really like killing Graves was the worst thing he could have done at that moment. Like, it brings all the heat down on him.
And you can see it surprises Graves because it's so outside of any logical move.
Well, it's not a logical move. Like his cell phone reception is there. People, even if you assume no one knows he's there. He's a high-time lawyer. People are going to miss him immediately. The cops track down his phone. It's a dumb move, and Graves can't really wrap his mind around it as far as...
No, you can see the shock on his face of like, holy shit, you crazy bastard.
And I'm like, yeah, dude, that's your mistake, is that you think Roy is fucking rational, and you haven't... people are dumb. Like even Roy is smart enough to get himself into a situation where his dumb actions will really fuck him over. I think that I saw that in like the last couple of episodes have shown that Roy is only really in his element if he has no pushback whatsoever. Like, he's obviously been elected sheriff in this town by, no contest for the last decade. Because the minute he gets one admittedly pretty funny debate thrown his way, like
those three guys are great. Those three guys are great.
The repeat Roys are, honestly, I'm like, if someone did that in an actual debate, please let me know, like, if there's video of that, because that's pretty funny.
And him getting their names legally changed.
Yes.
So that they are really running as
on the ballot, so they can be on the ballot. And it was honestly a masterstroke, great move.
Yeah. Just a different middle initial.
But it totally makes Roy come apart. He smacks a woman in public. The fucking moderator of the speech of the debate.
I love Danish explain, like, you think you can still recover from this. You really don't see how bad it is yet, but trust me.
You think it's not that bad. Trust me, it is.
It is worse than you realized. And of course, then he fucking meets his end, which fits into the TV trope of like getting me to really love a character. Like, there's his win. Oh God, you're doomed.
Well, it also sparks, all the relationships are. And Fargo is always a show that they're small towns, so everyone kind of runs into each other and knows each other. So the cop ends up really getting floated an offer she can't really refuse from Mommy Lion. Is that her name? Lion.
Mm-hmm. Lion. Lyon.
Matriarch Lion. And finally kicks that episode where the boyfriend says, like, I want a wife. That was a couple minutes to watch. I was like, what?
When he starts that, and I'm like, oh, have you misread this, buddy?
Man, wow. Oh, boy.
And then when she catches him cheating and he gets to throw it right back at him.
Mm-hmm.
That was great.
Yeah, I like a wife too, but I'd settle for a husband.
I like her taking the job and they kind of even cut that too. Like, there's so much other stuff going on. She's like, you gotta put your own mask on first. But yeah, there's no time for that. And like, they just move right on with it, which is great. Cause like, you watch those arguments,
Yeah. And, man, I like the fact that, the matriarch Lion and, Dot, she finally like builds a begrudging respect for Dot, to the point of like really kind of accepting her as a daughter, because
she says that's my girl at the end.
Because she really sees what Dot
and the cop really helps
in order to survive.
Yeah, the cop really helps sell that to her at first. Like, hey, has she complained when she's out there alone? Is she bitching to you? Is she trying to no? Like, she's out there doing this. You should have some respect for that.
Because Dot is, there's no point in this entire show where Dot has given up or is laying down and like taking anything. Like whatever that point of her life is over by the time we meet her. And she is constantly fucking with Roy or trying to get out of her bonds or trying to escape or fucking over Gator. Like it was psychologically like.
It was so crazy to watch season 2 in the kind of like waiting on, between the penultimate and last episode of this, because Kirsten Dunst has the same insane delusional, I'm going to get back to my normal life.
I was just going to say that, like,
and the whole time that there's no fucking way Kirsten Dunst does. Like, she's crazy lucky.
Juno Temple's Dot feels like what they were trying to accomplish with, it's
like a different person's try at the same test.
The likable version of Kirsten Dunst's version in season 2.
Yeah. Not as sounds just as insane, but more like.
Well, Dot's insane to keep her family together because
Dunst is trying to manifest it into the universe or some shit.
By hook or by crook, fucking Dot's getting this done.
Right. She's making some fucking Bisquick here.
She's not giving this up. I'm gonna go home with my family.
Scotty's waiting on biscuits. She's wanting breakfast for dinner.
Like that's the thing is that everyone seems to really underestimate about Dot is that like she's not playing to survive, she's playing to win.
Mm-hmm.
This only ends where she can go back to her life and be with her husband and be exactly what she had before because she feels, and rightfully so, feels like she's earned this.
Yeah.
This is mine and fuck all of you. I will, like, I think she even tells Roy or whatever, like, I am going to kill you.
Yes.
I'm gonna get you. Like, don't fucking make me push. She tells a couple characters in this season exactly like, don't fucking make me come at you because you really don't understand the level I'm about to bring it. You're not at my level, okay? Of not giving a fuck about it. You think you are, but you're not.
No, you still think there's rules to this fight and we're gonna, square up and box. No, I'm gonna bite your nose off. Yeah. And yeah, I love that. And similarly, and people underestimate Uli.
Yeah, so Uli actually might be a sin eater. I gotta say that I'm not. It's not disproven.
I think he's magic, dude. I think he's a sin eater. I think he ate. The whole season's about debt and repayment and who owes what and who can forgive what. And so I kind of like the big metaphor more than the aliens in the previous season. I like the big metaphor of
debt.
Of who, that Uli paid the debt for these rich fucks hundreds of years ago and all their sins, and that he's just been consumed since. And I think that they're leaving us to think that him eating drop biscuits that he made with the family is going to change him. Like, I think he ages and dies now.
I honestly, I can see that. Like, at least that's heavily what they're implying. But
which was kind of, I mean, for this show this season particularly treaded really close on a lot of that for the cutesy TV Dream World shit. I liked it when Uli ate the biscuit. I liked it there. I did not like it when she fantasized the entire episode about Linda.
Yeah, there's only 2 things this season that I really disagreed with and I thought were kind of mistakes. And one was the doll episode. Because, well, one, it happens all in Dot's head. So it kind of like any conversation we have with Linda, retroactively realizing it's Dot's idea of Linda is not as impactful.
Yeah.
It just isn't.
I don't like that feeling every time it comes over me of like, oh, wait, that's fake.
So what Linda says about Gator, her son, is not a conversation about her son. It's about what Dot thinks Linda thought about her son. You see how it loses its impact?
Yeah, no, it's maddening. Also, her knowing Linda's dead and knowing that she dreamed it makes her saying it to Gator fully manipulative, and that's cold.
It's really cold.
I don't hate it as a moment, but man, it's cold. That moment, she was still delusional about it. It looks like they tried to
find a line of like, did she think she actually fucking saw it? Because she did get hit by a car right after that.
Yeah, when did she realize that she was dreaming this?
Did she think she was like? But honestly, that's but also a bold move having the marionette dolls of puppets to talk about domestic violence.
Yeah,
because that's an interesting equation, because domestic violence is, categorically not funny, but puppets are very funny.
Well, and there's a weird history with like Punch and Judy and stuff of puppet shows like predating the Honeymooners kind of weirdness.
But I gotta say that anytime they were depicting the domestic violence with the puppets, oh my God, I laughed so hard. I get what they're doing with the I was his doll now, but how I would have definitely picked a different medium for that subject matter. Like,
I know they did not mean it to strike the same way as when they went to felt puppets and glitter in The Boys.
Yes, but
it's impossible
that's what it is,
for it
though.
to not feel the same a little bit. Yeah, it did not strike me as quite as like I was still kind of in the moment, but
God, that was
it is the point in there when she's spending, it makes it a high tension kind of thing when she's spending days like arguing with herself in her mind, when we know it's in her mind, of whether or not to waste time making this puppet. And I know that that's a metaphor for like wanting to rush through processing and your brain being like, no, stop and grieve this.
Puppets plus domestic violence equals comedy has been a long tested formula. Like, look at Miss Piggy hitting Kermit almost every episode of fucking or movies she's in with depicting that relationship. We laugh every time she goes hi-ya.
I think vaudeville is actually the Latin term for puppet violence.
Also, the cop, not the female cop, what's his name from like New Girl?
Oh, Whitfar. Yeah.
His death, I thought was, oh, I guess we need another sad thing to happen. Okay, like it didn't feel of a piece of the story as to what.
No, he's killed trying to help, like in one last. It drives me nuts. Like, I loved him as a character, and he just gets killed for being nice. He's just in Roy's way, and he's trying to help Dot, and it felt like Wash dying.
It felt like Fargo's seasons have a thing of like no one can get out clean. Mm-hmm. Your happiness has to come at the cost of something else, and
it made me think of Kirsten Dunst thinking that they were being smoked out of the freezer and Jesse Plemons being dead, and like there's a scene where she thinks like, come on, we're rescued, come on, and he's already dead.
Well, the first season like the sheriff gets killed, like is like the first episode is like this sheriff with a baby on the way, and he's the nicest guy in the world, and he gets killed by fucking Billy Bob.
Like, he's fucking doomed. Yeah.
And it's one thing when it's the inciting incident, or with at least Kristen Dunst's character, a direct effect of her lack of compassion towards her relationship.
Right. In that season, she did that. That is her true consequence. She fucking did that.
In this one, Dot doesn't really cause that.
No, Whit's just being nice and doing his job.
Whit's just doing his job as a police officer.
That's just Roy's already a shithead. Like, Roy's already fucking evil. I didn't need more evil on Roy.
Like, are we teaching Dot that, like, when people try to help you, you really should do everything yourself? Because I don't think that's a great message. It doesn't say anything about his relationship with Roy. He just met Roy earlier that day.
Yeah.
It actually, honestly would have meant more if it was Gator. But Gator, at that point, couldn't kill anybody, I don't think.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those things that I felt like was just in the room of like, nope, Fargo ends with a sad part.
It felt like wrapping up loose ends for some reason, only he didn't need to die.
No.
But it was like, oh yeah, we got to take care of everybody. Like,
especially since Roy killing him doesn't help Roy. It doesn't help him get away.
He could have been having some drop biscuits with him.
It doesn't hurt Juno Temple's character. She gets away and gets what she wants. It doesn't affect the ending in any way.
Yeah, it's just another loss and
it's just a thing that happens, and
another black mark against Roy.
And I'm like, oh, you just had this thing happen to bum me out, and that kind of sucks. Like, why are you trying to bum me out here?
I did love when she gets back. You'd mentioned earlier the bond between her and Jennifer Jason Leigh's matriarch, and I love that hug there with this woman that does not hug, but gives her this like, there's my girl, and they hug, they like two pats, and then she goes, okie doke, and like it's like a Ron Swanson hug, like, okay, that's enough. So that's your one in a lifetime.
Well, also ditching her, like Dot and the female cop for the talk with Roy at the end in the prison,
and that's what it's saying.
Like,
seeing her get the last,
they're Girl Scouts,
and you knew she was. He fucking killed Danish. Like, you know she's coming at him. Like, we're not done. This is a woman that keeps a ledger. There's debts. And her sending the cow. No, she's a Girl Scout. She doesn't have the stomach for what I'm about to do to you. When she like, oh, well, an amazing number of people in prison have families with debt or have debt with me.
Ugh. As soon as she started to say that, one? I was like,
that guy over there, that guy, all the men in cell block D and C and B and A.
And A, yeah. And I was like, man.
And you can see it sinking in on Roy's face of like, holy crap.
Well, also like the implication of like, you're going to, for the rest of your life, you're going to feel what you inflicted on your wives. And I was like, oh boy.
Yeah. It's vicious. And for as big and heavy as like the debt repayment, all that theme was this season, I really liked when Uli shows up at the house. He shows up to kill her,
or at least to finish,
or at least to take an ear off of her. Like there's a debt to be. A man is owed a debt, or whatever he says. And I actually liked her response back in terms of the writing. I liked her speech about like, so you're just ignoring the fact that debts can be forgiven. You could forgive debts.
Well, a lot of this season has been people trying to get out from under what other people say they owe them.
Yeah.
Roy is, no, Dot married me. She owes me life, in love and happiness and whatever. Fucking the female cop is not only the monetary debt she's under, but her fucking live-in deadbeat boyfriend is like, I deserve a wife as someone who take care of my emotional needs.
You owe me dinner and laundry and
like this whole season's about female empowerment and women realizing what, basically just shirking off of like, well, fuck what these dudes say I owe them.
Yeah.
I don't like, what about what I'm owed? I'm owed my own happiness. So how about you go fuck off? And I thought it was, and it's great that the Minnesota Nice comes in at the end of it, where Dot just basically does her Dot thing and just bulldozes Uli into like not getting his groove going of like, he's trying to do his like Javier Bardem from No Country for Old Men. But
if you'd put Dot in the guest, she'd have stopped him. She'd have talked him out of the programming. She wouldn't have ended up dead on the kitchen floor.
Yeah. Although I would like to see that cut. Like, that's two sets of crazy that are going. Because, Dot, I like that they showed
you got to find an outlet. It would get real Dexter up in there.
Really like that they showed Dot as I would say that Dot's a good person. Dot is overall a good mother and wants to do good. But first and foremost, she's a survivor. And if that means I have to do some bad stuff to people, well, then that's just them. That's just the breaks.
Yeah. That's just what happens.
But if you don't fuck with me, then I don't see why we can't have a nice meal and, have, your sin eaten be forgiven or whatever. And like, I'll show you my recipe for, see, the trick is that I put butter in it when it's his water, buttermilk. But I do like that the dad seems, he seems back to his regular level of not getting it. I think he's all right.
Yeah. I think you can't fully. I think he might still give away a Kia if left unattended, but he can be out there glad handing and people personing, and she's just got to step in with the.
I'm just wondering, did she have a conversation? Because the stuff with Roy has to come out, so she definitely I think she definitely told her family about it. Like, I think that's the implication. But then again, we never see it. And Dot is
the
insane.
mom definitely knows,
Like-
and I think she's told the husband but again, like who knows how much he remembers from any given conversation. Like he's not entirely all right.
Man, that was so.
she shocked the shit out of him with that fucking window.
Also, like, I loved that she didn't care about, like, and we're gonna live together, honey, and like, oh, that's great, and basically, like, I don't care as long as he's got a pulse, he's my husband.
No, seriously, I have no doubt in my mind that if she were changing his diapers and helping him from room to room every day, she'd be there for. I mean, absolutely be there for it.
Yeah,
this would just be like Dot, like you said, Dot's a loyal, good person. She just.
Right.
Man,
but also she's the reason you got fucking electrocuted in the first place.
That's true.
She fucking
definitely hooked a car battery to
your
the
house.
window.
So like,
yeah.
That man.
You know, I was thinking
Has a cold.
I might have a beer. What do you think?
Let's do it.
He has a cold, and the cold.
You're in the way.
This feels like a good time to mention that you can go over to patreon.com/tvdudes and give us a little bit of support for this podcast. We don't have ads. I'm not telling you to go over to any kind of mattress recruiter or anything. But we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/tvdudes. Throw us a buck an episode, get bonus content each week. This week, we will talk about Harmony Gold and Marvel's little foray into animated features. 1980s Dracula, Sovereign of the Damned. The title sounds so exciting.
wow. And that one's a special one.
It is. You got to hear us talk about this. Whether or not you should actually put yourself through it or not, you can hear us put ourselves through it.
But also, if your vampirism is not your bag, you can also make us watch whatever you so desire at a higher tier level. I believe we have the showrunner level at $20 for an episode.
That's right. For $20, we will watch and discuss at least 4 episodes of anything. That's right. Any show you want. Next week, we are discussing TV Dude showrunner John Paul's selection, Everything's Gonna Be Okay, over on Hulu.
That sounds reassuring. I mean, that's the title even just makes me feel better.
Right? I mean, it's right there in the name. Everything's Gonna Be Okay. I believe that show got canceled, so that was, I'm sure, a shock to all of them.
This episode on Everything Is All Right, something went wrong, but that's not what you promised.
Well, I'm sure they're going to have some drama. I believe John Paul has called it the horniest family sitcom on television.
Okay, so, man, that's too close for the words horniest and family are just too close in that sentence. I don't understand. Like, I'm really hoping that it's horniest family sitcom and not horniest family sitcom. What is the emphasis on? See, this is why, like, God damn it, like the text in it. I'm now I'm thinking that this is a mistake.
Well, all right. Let's get into our main course this week. Echo over on Disney Plus.
Maya, I see everything that you are. You and I are the same. I taught you everything. Don't be afraid. I was there for you! How could you betray me like this? There's still a chance for you to get out of this alive. You want a war, you'll have it. You take away my legacy, I take away yours! And only then, I will give you the sweet relief of death. What did you do?
So I was concerned that Echo was going to be a huge mistake. I had no interest in this series other than the base level of it's a Marvel property. I'll watch
mentioned it.
I have mentioned it a lot. You're a liar.
Man, you were out of all the shows, like you.
This was the one that finally all of it caught up with me. Of like,
fuck the you were like you were concerned. You wanted to block out a whole day so that you had an excuse to not like let it go. You didn't want to the reason that we're like doing it a week late basically is because we but he's like, I don't want to force myself to watch it all on a Thursday, so we record and try and get it up by Saturday. Like, yeah, and on one
I
level,
think
I
the
can
main
get that.
thing the main thing that was irking me about it was that this looked like a return to Netflix Marvel,
Which you
and
were
I
not distinctly not a
don't
fan of.
don't want it. Yeah, I really don't. Those have aged incredibly badly in my memory. For as fun as they were at the time, every time we've gotten any other like Marvel proper content, I've liked it more than those Netflix shows. And this just, oh man, especially when the early stuff out about it was like, ooh, with the release of Echo, Marvel's added all of the Marvel Netflix or the Disney or Marvel Netflix shows into the timeline on Disney Plus. I'm like, oh, that
Okay.
doesn't bode well for me.
I mean, calm down. There's
Like,
they added in
yeah.
Daredevil and Kingpin. Okay, like we're not like
calm yourself.
Like,
Yeah.
they've added in like the best, like Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin and Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock were the best things that came out of Netflix. Like, it's not radical that they've added those things in there.
Yeah, I saw Randy say on social media that he believes they're going to do what the comics have basically always done, which is grab things piecemeal. Anything they directly mention is now canon. Everything else in the show is still up in the air.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, everything else is in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. wake of no, we will never mention that. But,
yeah, like is it Jarvis that turned up and like, okay, that doesn't mean every single thing in Agent Carter.
Yeah, right,
yeah.
right. No, like we don't take that as a Bible, but yeah, this takes place after Hawkeye, the events of Hawkeye, which were I think we all liked that. The TV
Hawkeye
we all liked the Hawkeye show. It was actually one of the first Hawkeye shows, right? Or the first Marvel shows, I should say.
Yeah, when did Hawkeye actually? Time is a blur. I feel like it feels somewhere in the middle now, but I don't know. I do know.
I know it came around on Christmas because it had a Christmas motif in it.
Yeah, I know we'd already had Falcon Winter Soldier at least.
Yeah, Falcon and Winter Soldier was WandaVision was the first one, and then Falcon. I think it was Hawkeye, but I could be wrong.
Falcon was the second, and I think we got What If. Let me see.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it could have been that season What If. Back when it was still new and exciting, you know?
So yeah, it is in the center. I'm right. So we got WandaVision, then Falcon Winter Soldier, then Loki, then What If, then Hawkeye.
All right. Okay.
Then we had Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, and She-Hulk ended Phase 4. So it was center of Phase 4.
Dude, people can bitch about the Marvel shows, but I got to tell you, all those shows you just named, I immensely enjoyed.
Oh yeah, same. I dug all those except WandaVision.
Right, and the She-Hulk Daredevil cameo is basically repeated here, but in a more serious tone. It's like it's a marriage between the She-Hulk Daredevil and the Netflix Daredevil, and I'm kind of into it. I'm kind of into this.
Super into it. Okay, so even before he popped in, that whole fight scene, just badass from the jump, man.
The fights in this are great.
Sick fight scenes, really dig it.
Right,
and then Daredevil pops in, and it's beautiful. Long crazy tracking shot fight, just had a fucking blast in it.
Right, like it's done in a big oneer, like or a couple oneers. I think I don't think it's a continuous. I think they break it up a couple times, but like
it's supposed to have like a long flowing kind of vibe to it. It was super.
It's supposed to be making you think of the Daredevil show even before he shows up. Like I see what you're doing. I see it
there, even if Matt can't. So Echo also jumps straight into taking it out of New York and going to Oklahoma.
Right.
Which I somehow didn't really expect.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense in the fact that if you're trying to keep the budget smaller, the New York is an expensive place to shoot and not an inexpensive place to copy to shoot.
No. And having grown up in Northeast Texas, Southern Oklahoma, you know where it's cheap? Southern Oklahoma.
Fucking A, yeah. Like, and also, it's a smaller story. You don't want them in New York so that, like, where are all the superheroes? Where is Daredevil? They want it separate. Like, this is different than the other Marvel shows in the fact that they want like Echo's storyline to be very self-contained, other than the overarching connection with Kingpin. And even Kingpin's connection is really more as Maya's pseudo father figure villain. And I could see that because it allows you to keep your budget small, your scope small, your focus more intimate. And it really works for this show and this character in particular, because having a character who speaks in sign language, I think it behooves you to not get even more complex with, like, it's already going to be hard enough fighting an alien and introducing quantum mechanics in that sort of thing. We don't need to add in a language barrier of, wait, so who can understand her and whatever, because going back to Oklahoma as well, her hometown, you have a believable excuse for why a lot of people there remember her as a kid and know at least a little bit of ASL.
Yeah. Like, I stand by it. If Biscuit can learn sign language, anybody should be able to pick up some amount of sign language. It sounds
Biscuits. Like. So, as far as sidekick characters introduced, I think we pitched a Sidekicks United show.
Man, I want a Marvel special presentation Sidekicks Christmas special so fucking bad now.
It's just it's the white boy from Miss Marvel. It's Ned from the Spider-Man movies. It's Darcy from the Thor movies, and Biscuits.
Yeah, have Jimmy Woo put them all together.
Oh, fucking A, yeah.
They got to save Christmas. I'd be so down for that, man. Like, it'd just be great. Biscuits
they think Jimmy has powers, but it's just close-up magic.
Yes, he can teleport cards. What?
Holy
Never
shit.
mind. Have him show you next time you see him. So yeah, Biscuits just stole this thing. Also, I liked the slow unfolding realization that she came back to Oklahoma because it's, you know, some familiar stomping ground to fight from, but also she doesn't give any barely gives any fucks about her family.
I really thought that she was going home to hide or to maybe reconnect, and it turns out she's going home for a home court advantage.
Yeah.
Despite, and even sometimes intentionally fucking over her
people there. And she burns Black Crow so bad, the guy that runs the skate rink.
Who's basically like her uncle, if I'm understanding that relationship right.
But God, because that's her dad's, it's her uncle, because he was in New York and left, and the realization of why she's so mad at him is fantastic. I was a child and you left me with the Kingpin in New York.
Yeah, well, like the reveal of why she doesn't give a fuck. But honestly, I thought it was refreshing having a character that you don't necessarily have to like or say. I mean, I end up liking her just because
I ended up liking her. I like where she came around to. But yeah, you're right.
But
I didn't have to like Maya the whole time. She's just fascinating to watch.
She's fascinating to watch because she's not trying to be, at first, really not trying to better herself. She wants to be a queen pin. The show is all about her trying to break this cycle of violence she finds herself in by reconnecting with her roots and her ancestry. And it's basically via her surrogate family and father and her actual lineage.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. And Maya comes off as angry, but kind of justifiably like low grade pissed off.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it works in a way that often anger like this doesn't work for me. Everybody just does the Kubrick stare, like crazy eyes and furious, and she pulls it off differently.
She's angry, but also she does something about it. Like she's using that anger to like fuck up the people that are trying to come after her, and it's a telltale thing of like you don't need to save the cat in order to like a character. It's harder, but you can like a character just because you respect them, the way they do things and the way they go about things. Maya is proactive. She is a secure individual that knows what she wants and is pretty savvy about getting it.
Yeah. These episodes, there's only 5 episodes. I think there's only a couple of them over 40 minutes. Most of them are like 35 to 40. It flies by. And I both love that. I think, especially in the wake of like Secret Invasion and stuff, like it's great that Marvel shows are clipping along here, but also, man, when the ancestry power hits her full speed at the last episode in the powwow, it feels, it's not out of nowhere. They've been building it, but damn, it's fast.
So they've been building it, but they haven't explained exactly what it is or how it works. So
no, she's a different superhero in an instant.
So there's not really a rule book as far as what she can do. So I've been
Sound
gushing
off
over
in the comics. I don't know Echo's powers. I honestly just thought that she was a Daredevil style badass, but no real powers. But I guess she has powers. So sound off in the comments if this is a new thing, if this is a change. We're way out past either Nick or I's comic knowledge here.
Yeah, but it feels wholly different than what they've set up before with this grounded storyline that they're doing. And all of a sudden, the last episode is where it starts to feel very superhero-y. And
she gets a superhero suit that's very family sewn Miss Marvel style.
I think that her grandfather made it, but it could have been like the spirits, considering she sees her mom immediately in that flashback.
Oh, yeah.
So as far as the powers, what I thought they were was that she gets skills from her previous life. And I was like, oh, okay, she's like a sensate, but with a
right, ancestry sensate. Got it.
Okay, I got that then, and that still leaves it to be a low level power. Like, okay, she's got more skills than any one human should have over the course of a lifetime.
Right.
But even then, they don't like.
Yeah, I don't remember her becoming a sharpshooter, but I guess she is. That kind of shit.
Bring up like, oh, you got your mind for strategy from what's her name playing this stickball game, and I'm like, you never even got across that was what she was like. That strategy thing was why she won. I thought it was like
she looked super angry.
She looked like she was just determined to win. Like she never adjusted, or you didn't pull that off there. And
no.
It's one of those things you don't realize they're not pulling it off because you don't really know what they're doing in the earlier episodes.
You don't know they're going to use it later, and then they do, and you're like,
that's what you were trying to do?
Is that what that meant? Okay.
And,
okay.
Or speaking of, Fargo and what they do with the last episodes here, this last episode of Echo is pretty weak sauce. The fight kind of sucks.
That fight is so,
The fight is the weakest fight out of all of them. It's not shot in any particularly dynamic way because they have to have Bonnie
she pushes power like downstream or up her lineage or whatever out to her sister and her grandmother.
Sure, which I guess makes
I think
sense.
That's what happens there. I mean, it makes as much sense as the Loki time tree wires. And I guess that's what she does. But I also think you're right. When we were watching it, I think it's why they couldn't shoot that fight scene. Because you can't suddenly have those two people fight, I don't think.
No,
I think like as an actor constraint, I don't think those two could fight.
Those two people or stunt doubles that look like them can't be involved in the. And I think with what's great with what's her name playing Maya, damn it,
Alaqua Cox.
Alaqua.
She is. God, she's so good.
Alaqua has the physicality to where she's selling like whenever they do switch to a body double. It's very hard to tell.
Yeah.
It really looks like she's doing a lot of the physical heavy lifting in these fights. And there's a point in the arcade. That fight is so good.
The skating rink?
The skating rink or whatever rollerblade. It's laser tag. It's all like, what is that business model? Anyway, it actually gets to a point of like, oh shit, this might be better than even the Netflix dirty fighting that we saw. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the low grade fighting. It makes me believe in a show where I can. It makes me believe in like, oh yeah, I want to watch Daredevil fight like this.
Fucking just beat on people.
Yeah. Just wail on people but be nimble and be extra. Like it's more than any a regular human could do, but not
when she steps down off the roof. I think it's when her uncle's coming out there to call her out of like, what did you do? And like she's up on the roof, chilling, and just like walks over and just drops to the ground.
Yeah.
And like it's different than Black Widow's 3-point stance. It's different. Like she just boom.
Well, her eyes never leave him.
Yeah.
She doesn't go down and flip her hair.
Like it's such a small moment, and it's just shows a like, no, I'm different. Like, and she, and again, like she's not supposed to be, I didn't think at that moment, magic, but man, she is.
Had the show ended with that fight in the arcade, I've been like, this is one of the greatest shows
Fantastic
ever.
Marvel show. Holy crap. Yeah.
It ends with like weird powers and suddenly Biscuits and a Black Hawk or
Black Crow
have to which apparently that actor he's actually been in Jessica Jones, so they've already kind of like
they'd already alluded to it. Yeah,
they've already no, that actor was a different character in
a
Jessica
different
Jones.
role. Okay.
So I think like they don't really give a shit about continuity. I mean, well, Marshall Ali is Blade, so they don't give a fuck.
Right. They really don't care. Like, man, you look a lot like Cottonmouth.
Who?
Well, that's racist.
Yeah, that's fucked up, man, that you say that to me.
We just all look the same. Yeah.
But they even have little things where they fight some goons at the end because they need a thing to do in the finale.
Yep.
And it feels lazy. Yeah, I just gotta say, like
he just nearly looks at the camera and yells, "Biscuits here too."
Also, one of our favorite Eurotrash villains, Andrew Howard, shows up as Zane.
Oh man, I don't know what accent he's doing, but holy God, is it weird?
Like are you trying to do a Billy Zane thing going on, or
I'm so used to hearing him be Russian.
Right, or some sort of Eastern European, but he's some sort of Eurotrash, or what is his accent?
He's got like a weird French Belgian. I don't know where character's supposed to be from. It is so freaking weird.
Yeah. Well, he says use, like with use guys or whatever too, and I'm like, whoa, that seems New York. What the fuck? But also Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin is very good in this, and they leave like I like that he offers her like I get that you tried to shoot me, but he so wants things to go back to the way they were. Like forget what happened with Vanessa. I think Vanessa is dead or something in this continuity, but he wants some semblance of normalcy and is willing to forgive and forget for Echo, and gives her the ultimatum like, hey, we're leaving on the plane. I hope you're on the plane. The insinuation being that if you're not on the plane, I'm just going to leave without you. And when she doesn't show up to the plane, he goes, well, I'm going to burn your whole fucking life down.
Oh man, he loses it. Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so you offered that, but it was an offer that you're like, oh, but she's going to come with though.
Yeah.
Like you weren't ready to deal with the emotional backlash of her saying no.
So that skip over fight then leads to an ending that I both like, but then wasn't really satisfying. She like heart heals the wounded little boy at the core of Kingpin.
Yeah, which on one level is pretty interesting as far as, hey, don't fuck with my trauma.
Yeah. Yeah, meet cute style.
That informs what a person is, and the Kingpin's whole character is based around his relationship with his
that
dad.
Moment, really. Yeah. He still keeps the hammer, for God's sake.
Right. So there's a I like that that was one of the falling out points between him and Echo, between him and Echo too, was that
thinking they're the same.
Same because like, well, my father died too. Like, no, dude, you killed your dad.
Wait, no,
her dad. Like,
you killed him. You left that part out.
Is that how you think? They're like, well, I've killed both our dads.
Like that's not the. Oh,
that's
man,
not the same.
But that then leaves. I think it's kind of funny that it's not like he becomes a quivering lump of jello and just can't function. He's still Kingpin. But suddenly now he wants to go into politics.
Now,
and
does he want a sense of legitimacy because now he's not so obsessed with becoming like being strong, like.
I think he can't be invisible anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I think before he could just have control, but he didn't need approval.
Or it didn't need to be seen, and
or liked or approved of or whatever. And I think now he has I think weirdly that closing off that vulnerability was also closing off whatever was making him want attention, because the whole reason he could be such a force when we first meet him in Daredevil is that you never say his name out loud. Like, he was fine having true control, which required basically invisibility.
Mm-hmm.
And I think by running, like, I think the thing she healed in him opened him up to now being a needy fuck.
Also, a pretty good excuse to bring him open into the bigger Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Absolutely.
Now,
because God, he's one of their winners. Like, you want to talk about, even if you guys had to move, even if they had to move stuff around, realize that if Vincent D'Onofrio, as long as he's willing to do this role, keep him in it.
Well, I think fantastic. Even in Hawkeye, we realized that shit, even in a jokier, lighter setting, he's still a great character. He's still Kingpin.
Great. Yeah.
Because he doesn't need he as himself is a dark, fucked up character, doesn't need to be inside of a dark, fucked up show to be compelling.
He doesn't necessarily need to slam a dude's head into the car door on screen 15 times.
Honestly, I want to see what would our Spider-Man, what does a Tom Holland Spider-Man fight this level of Kingpin like?
Right.
Like, this level of Kingpin is a weirdly, driven and psychotic person. And I don't know, I feel like our Spider-Man has not dealt with anything of that level. Although then again, basically Green Goblin was his wake-up call to really mental health.
But no, I think
how crazy
I think this would be worse. I think you'd have to rescue Aunt May for real.
Mm-hmm.
Kingpin would figure out that he's Peter and then destroy his life. Like, immediately. Like, I don't think there'd be any, like, it'd be a different level of villain of, like, this isn't a costume dude in a rhino suit or something. Like, this is like, this dude's just gonna, like, take a step back and destroy you.
Or, like, it would take a level of thinking about how, like, well, I can't just go in and beat him up and arrest him. I have to like take down his supply chain or get people to flip on him. Who could I possibly go to that knows the legal system like that to help me take down an actual criminal? And all of a sudden, it's the Daredevil Spider-Man. Honestly, that's what I want. It would
bring Spidey down to the neighborhood Spider-Man that we never seem to get.
Like, if not a movie, I kind of want a TV series where it's like, hey, I want to see Daredevil and Spider-Man team up to like actually take down a crime boss Kingpin. Like, not an alien threat, but like a low-level crime boss, and see how Spider-Man is kind of not really actually well equipped to deal with things at that level.
Yeah.
At least not currently. He's not our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man yet. He's fought aliens and shit. And I want to see him be brought into the Daredevil element of it and be like, hey, kid, you got some potential just actually making things better on the ground here.
So where would you rank Echo among the Marvel series? Top half, bottom half?
Honestly, that last episode is so weak and it only has five episodes, which honestly I thought was an advantage going forward. But it also means that if one of your episodes is not so great,
that's 20% of the show.
That's 20%. That's a heavy hit. But I think that a lot of the fucking Marvel shows seem to, like, WandaVision had that problem. I know it was COVID, so it was different. It was a production issue that WandaVision's final episodes didn't quite meet the standard there. Mm-hmm. But also Secret Invasion had, maybe even not a strong opening, but stronger than it closed for sure. They have a problem with their, finales. Mm-hmm. And I think this one is actually in the bottom half for me, as far as I was really digging it.
It was a roller coaster for me. I was not interested in watching it. I was really digging it. And then,
And then all of a sudden, my interest in even a season 2 of Echo fizzled out. I was more interested in Kingpin and some of the other stuff. And Echo, I was kind of like, okay, maybe. And
I came away more impressed with Aliqua Cox than I had been before, and I deeply want to see Echo now recruited into Thunderbolts or rolled into something else really soon. But I don't necessarily want this show continued as is.
I want to see Moon Knight in this level of TVMA. That might be kind of interesting.
Yeah,
I think that this in between state of what the Netflix shows were is an interesting point. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to try and do Punisher here, right? And Blade.
I think so, yeah.
So that's interesting to me. But Echo itself, I was like, as much as I liked the main character and all, the actress really blew me away. There's just something about this need to make them a superhero at the end and give them like these powers and the suit. And it's not like I'm against, God forbid I'm not against suits. Do not take that away from it. But
yeah, I know what you mean. There was you could have left this satisfyingly with just her gotten a win and reconnected with her family. And where do you go now? I don't know. Wherever I want.
Mm-hmm.
Could have just left it there. I don't know. It felt rushed in a really short show.
Right. Well, honestly, she can't win and become a queen pin because you want to keep fucking Vincent D'Onofrio around. Like she can't.
Right.
So there's only so much. There's only so like she can't kill Kingpin. She can't like get him arrested. So there's only so many ways they can do it, and they have a half interesting idea of how it ends. I would say that a very solid 4 episodes with a, middling, if not disappointing finale. I would rather watch Hawkeye and Falcon and these other ones, even if they also have weaker closers. I don't know. I feel like obviously Echo was in production. They did not have any time to change things around as far as, when people had the backlash to Secret Invasion and the Marvels.
Right. This did not get, I don't think they would have had time to retool this.
They would have not had any time to retool this unless it was in the editing room, and it doesn't look like that. But this year, they're basically the 2024 is going to be kind of a year off for Marvel mostly. And I'm going to be interested to see what they do with this year in order to and come back later.
Yeah, same. Well, that about wraps it up for us. Tune in next week when we chat about Everything's Gonna Be Okay. Patreon patron John Paul's showrunner selection. And you can head over to patreon.com/tvdudes to choose your own show or throw down a buck an episode and hear more bonus content like our review of Dracula, Sovereign of the Damned.
Yeah.
Until next time.
TV Dudes out!